If there's one thing that the internet teaches us is that people are genuinely pretty cool, and then there's that other group. You know the ones I'm talking about. And that other group's been pretty loud since Canada lost in a quarterfinal of a tournament I really wasn't following. And that's that's really the thing. Like, so with the World Juniors, after the World Junior tournament's over, I pay attention to whose stock rose and whose stock dropped at the World Juniors when it comes to the draft class of that season. So this year's 2019, of course. But I just can't get into it very much. And then I'm not surprised when Canada's out because there's a lot of good countries. The Russians are pretty good. The Finns are pretty good. Swedes are pretty good. The Americans are pretty good. Like there's a lot of good countries. The Czechs are capable of pulling off upsets too. So I'm not necessarily surprised or that upset when Canada loses, but apparently there were some people that were very upset about Maxime Comtois and his efforts in a shootout, or not a shootout, in a penalty shot that he had in the overtime. Here's the thing. If Canada was really this dominant force, then they wouldn't have had to go to overtime. The fact is, the Finns were pretty darn good, and they had good goaltending. They had a good team. Canadians were pretty good too. Comtois has come under a lot of criticism in this tournament. Now, earlier in the tournament, there were discussions about whether or not he dives and whether or not he embellishes. And my answer to that is, well, he played for the Ducks, so I'm sure there's a couple of guys there who know about embellishing things when they have to. But really, in all honesty, it's nothing that you don't see in hockey a lot anyways, where if a guy does kind of go down easy, he's more likely to get the penalty call. If he doesn't, he probably doesn't get that penalty call. So I totally get it, and guys throwing their heads back. I've commented about that before. He's certainly not the first one to do that. Now, of course, there are going to be people who cross that line and bring in the fact that he's French. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. It's absolutely, to me, it's a ridiculous argument. It's made out of anger from people that just really, yeah. So he's had to disable comments on his Instagram because people have taken to him and said some really awful things. Here's the thing about Maxime. He played on the Anaheim Ducks in October, and he was one of their better players at the start of the year. He's going to be an NHL player. He was a captain for Team Canada. Yes, the team lost in the quarterfinals, but he's going to be an NHL player. He's probably going to be a pretty good NHL player. Now, is he going to be controversial? Yeah, probably. If he embellishes, then yeah. If he's outspoken, then yeah, probably. But he's a guy that, early on in the season when I was watching him playing for Anaheim, I was like, I like this kid. I like some of what he brings to the game. Do I like embellishing? No. I've mentioned that before. The embellishing thing I don't like. Do I understand it? Yes. So the thing with World Juniors, and this is how I see it, is that if you get upset about a World Junior result, a couple weeks later you're over it, or a week later you're over it, and by about a month later you kind of forget that it happened. It's not my first World Juniors that I've seen come and go where Canada wasn't necessarily great. I can remember the Olympics where Canada sent the NHLers the first time around, and it was a disaster. Wayne Gretzky sitting on the bench during a shootout situation where Ray Bourque was out there. That just, to this day, stands out. But it shows that, yeah, I've been following this a long time. It's part of the reason why, I watch a lot of hockey. Right now I've got the Leafs and Wild game on. I don't have the time to add World Juniors to it. Now, I can talk about this because this is something that affects the career of a player who's going to be a National Hockey League player. And because it speaks to this online sense of entitlement people have, that for people who've never played at that level, that they're like, oh, well, hey, look at the shot he took on that penalty shot. That's just stupid. Okay. Are any of them NHL level prospects? No. And it's that fine line. Like you can critique, but when you go out and you attack somebody, you better be able to back it up. And in this case, it would be on the ice. So, it's a shame that those vocal few have to make it rough for everybody else. I know from running a YouTube channel for the last 2.5 years that I have had my days as well, where trolls will come in from various parts of the internet to, have their say at my product and what I do and what I talk about in a video that I've made. But it passes, and for Comtois, this is going to pass. And I'm willing to bet that a few years from now, this is all forgotten, and we're talking about what a solid NHL player he is. An experience like this can make him a better NHL player. Just going through this can make him a better NHL player. Being team captain for Team Canada will make him a better NHL player. Being a team captain for Team Canada is the kind of thing that makes me say he'll probably be a captain in the NHL at some point. So there you go. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, as always. I understand that for some Canadian fans, they might get really upset. I don't. I really don't. And it's not a matter of national pride. It's just look at the team that's my favorite team. Brock Besser's American. Elias Pettersson is Swedish. And 9 times out of 10 when I'm watching these games between juniors or whatever, I ask, well, where are the Canuck and Bruin prospects? Oh, I'll cheer for that team then. So, national pride is great and wonderful and fine, but I really like to see prospects for my favorite teams doing well, which very often means not cheering for somebody who's on Team Canada. There was a Canuck prospect that did okay for the Finnish team yesterday, and that's pretty cool. So there you go. Again, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And for Maxim, my only advice to him would be just keep going. And, he's team captain of Canada. Very, very, very few people can say that they've been that. Thank you guys for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.